Good day, subscribers, and welcome back to The Contrarian, everybody. I will say it's been a busy last holiday season week for myself, my family, so it's kind of why I've had to wait a little while to put out another video, although a lot has happened in the last week and a half. Today I'll actually be talking about why I just made a trade, short-term trade obviously, but I went short gold miners. And this might seem like, whoa, Logan, what are you doing? You've said so many optimistic things about gold and silver and the precious metal miner complex recently. Why did you just go bearish gold miners if you have such huge positions in them? And the answer to this is, while I'm very net bullish in terms of the coming year, coming multiple years actually for precious metals, I do think they are ripe for a pullback right now, specifically looking at the gold chart where it just bounced off of its all-time high of around 2100. Yesterday, it did not break through. It does look ripe for a pullback looking at several key metrics. I did want to point out, I brought out Jim Rickard's The New Case for Gold book just to prove that I'm still a gold bug of sorts, still optimistic on precious metals for the coming year. So obviously, even though I went short gold temporarily, this is a way for me to hedge a lot of the long positions I have, as I do think that these will take a breather, take a consolidation in the coming weeks. If gold pulls back from its close to all-time highs, if gold pulls back to, just under 2,000, which I think it could retest that area, the miners are going to do a lot more than that. More importantly, I think this is really going to reset sentiment around precious metals. So people are going to stop being so optimistic about them. If anything, it might get retail investors, other people to just throw in the towel entirely, because the last 3 years have been frustrating in the precious metals market. So, if anything, I would expect that this coming consolidation and, pullback in metals is going to really reset sentiment most of all. It's not going to really do that much for, gold. It might go down 5%, which isn't a whole lot. But in the precious metals market, that's big. People are very emotional. A lot of that does play into the miners. They've really underperformed relative to the physical metals in the last 3 years. The metals have basically treaded water. The miners have been down quite a bit. I do think that this coming consolidation, final pullback, is going to be a good opportunity, and I will take advantage of this myself to really go long a lot of the miners that do pull back. And I do think that this coming run after this pullback will finally break decisively above 2100. I think it could run to 2500 or so, plus or minus $100 or $200 on gold. Silver, I think it could run through 30 finally. And once the $30 threshold does break in silver, you could see a more sizable move to the upside from there. I'm not 100% sure with silver. Gold is a little more clear in terms of the next upside target. How did I calculate 2,500? It's not, some calculus or complex math. It's basically just taking prior breakout moves when gold moved to the upside, for example, back in 2018, or looking prior to then, 2016 type of gold bull markets that occurred. These legs that occur out of this consolidation type of pattern typically would run gold up, to where we would see it. If that does repeat for this coming gold bull cycle, you could see gold hit 2,500 after this next leg down that I do think is likely. Now, what could invalidate this? What could make my gold short position not turn out well? And why am I still long the miners and gold and silver as a whole? I'm still net long, even though I have a short position now. Just because I do think that this might be invalidated if gold does decisively break above 2,100, if it does continue to rally through here, even though it does look likely that a pullback is happening right now. Maybe it does break through 2100 and keep going higher. If it does that, obviously, I need to get out of this short position on GDXD, which is basically a 3 ETN inverse on the GDX complex. So that's how I went short gold miners. If, however, it breaks decisively through 2100 and starts going higher, I will get out of that and just go completely long, as at that point I do think we're off to the races. Now, what could cause gold to continue to break out? What could cause it to correct? I think a lot of it does depend on rates and DXY, or dollar index. So the strength of the dollar. If the dollar continues to fall, I think that does give more tailwind to gold. That can send it higher. Also, if rates continue falling, I think that could do the same thing. But on the inverse, it does look like DXY and rates might have a bounce here. As bearish as I am on the dollar for the time being, and rates as well, as I think they're going to keep coming down, I do think they are ripe for a bounce. That's kind of another reason why I do think that precious metals kind of need a retest here of the 1950 to 2000 area. Maybe they go a little lower than that. Miners probably get a bigger retest than that, as I do think a lot of the retail investors that have come on recently or that have been involved in gold in the last few years are going to just throw in the towel, go in the rest of the stock market. Why why bother with gold and silver? There's a lot of other good pickings out there right now. So it is going to really reset sentiment in that sense. But I do think on the final pullback that we're going to see in 3 or 4 weeks, or whenever that happens, I do think that is the time to really load up on precious metal miners in particular, as when gold does break above its all-time highs and goes towards 2,500, you will really see these miners play very well. In terms of how you exactly position this or what you decide to do for yourself is totally up to you. I'm just presenting my thinking in terms of how I'm going to play the upcoming precious metals bull market, and why I just took a small-ish short position for the next few weeks to few months. So all this being said, I'd love to know what you think about this in the comment section below, the potential pullback in gold and silver and the miners. I'd love to hear what you think about all of this, and I hope to see all of you again at some point.